Okay, so welcome everyone. This is the joint meeting for the Planning and Land Use for Northwest, Coastal, and Central San Pedro Neighborhood Councils. And we are having some issues with our video. For those of you that are online, we're able to see you. You'll be able to see the presentation. You just can't see us. So just imagine our faces, please. We will do, should we do a presentation? I mean, an introduction, Diana?
Yeah, I think there's a lot.
Okay, so we'll start with you, Elise.
Elise Swanson, Coastal San Pedro Neighborhood Council, land use.
Augie Bezmalinovich, Community Affairs Advocate for the Port of Los Angeles.
Mona Sutton, Coastal San Pedro Neighborhood Council Committee Member.
Ditto for Adele Healy.
Rock Ashfield, Northwest, great supporter of downtown San Pedro.
There you go. Bravo.
Sergio Correa with the Office of Councilmember Tim McCosker of the 1-5.
Lamar Lyons, Central Neighborhood Council, Vice President.
Matthew Mello, agent representing the West Harbor project.
Alan Johnson, Jericho Development and West Harbor.
Name Northwest Planning Committee.
Diana Nave, Chair of Northwest and co-chair of
You
the
guys
meeting.
have lots of bunch of time.
And I'm Javier Gonzalez Camarillo, Chair of the Planning and Land Use Central.
And Alexander, Central Land Use.
Okay.
She gets the people here.
And we're gonna do the
Are we gonna?
back row.
Yes.
Oh, we just live in Coastal San Pedro.
Okay.
See.
Say. Yes.
Want to introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Scott.
Scott.
From San Pedro Business.
Oh,
Thank
hey.
you.
And I'm also with the Chamber of Commerce. That's my other hat.
All right, we'll do those of you online, we'll start with you, Doug.
Yeah, I raised my hand and it's sorry to be pedantic, but because these are meetings, I just want to remind Robin to make a note of which Coastal San Pedro planning people are present because we don't have video. So,
Oh, thank you, Doug.
Yes.
yeah, no, that's actually kind of critical for votes and stuff. I'm Doug Epperhart, president of Coastal San Pedro, and I'm just going to remind everybody again, please do not talk all at once. I mean, I'm not kidding you. When anybody at that table says anything, I don't care if you think you're whispering, we're hearing it. So, yeah.
I agree. It's painful.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Robin, Coastal San Pedro Neighborhood Council Board and Land Use Chair. And I got Elise and Mona, and I thought I might have heard
Adele.
Adele. Okay, so there's 4 of us in a quorum. And if anybody else from our Land Use Committee comes, maybe Javier, you could let me know.
Okay. Next row, we have James.
Hi, James Campo, community member, San Pedro Coastal. Thank you.
And then Artie.
Hi, everyone. Artie Mandel, Director of Strategic Initiatives for the Port of LA.
Frank, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Frank Anderson, Central San Pedro Planning and Land Use Committee.
Thank you. Jason? There's 2 Jasons, so.
Hi, Jason Woolley, Central San Pedro Planning and Land Use Committee.
Hi, Jason Herring, Northwest San Pedro Planning and Land Use Committee Vice Chair.
Great, thank you. There's a new person with it. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Gwendolyn Henry, Port Environment and Sustainability Committee, Northwest San Pedro.
Thank you. All right, we will get started with our agenda, and our first item is going to be the EPA Clean Reports Program presentation, request for a letter of support, and we have Augie Bezmalinovich here.
Yes, hi, everyone. Augie Bezmalinovich from the Port of Los Angeles. Really good news and a great presentation we're going to present to you. But how did this all become? You know, we were a sleepy little fishing port back, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And then something called containerization came around in the early 70s, and the Port of LA made a couple of large investments in land masses called Pier 300, Pier 400, and zoom up till today. We're the #1 container port in the Western Hemisphere, and our closest competitor, the Port of Long Beach, is #2. And the port complex, together, we attributed 1 in 9 jobs in Southern California could be traced back to the port complexes. So in the early 2000s, we had a bunch of concerned citizens because they also, with the jobs and this wonderful opportunity, came the pollution. And I believe it was Mayor Hahn back in the early 2000s that made a commitment that the port can grow, but the pollution needs to come down. And we did something very unprecedented. Back then, we collaborated with our closest competitor called the Port of Long Beach, and we came up with a clean air action plan. And we committed to lower our emissions, and we did so significantly. And with that, we made some future commitments to even lower the pollution more and to go to zero emission. So what I'd like to do is introduce you to Jacob Goldberg is celebrating the Jewish holidays. He couldn't make it here today, but I have Artie Mandel, the Director of Strategic Initiatives, and he's going to give us a presentation. We have some very exciting news and an opportunity that we could take advantage of. So Artie, go ahead and you can share your screen, and I'm hoping you can.
There we go. Unmute. Found the button only 3 years later into using Zoom every day. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time. Thanks, Augie, for the introduction. I'm going to, as Augie said, my name's Artie Mandel. I'm the Director of Strategic Initiatives here at the Port of LA. My role at the Port is on the Government Affairs team, and I work really closely with the Environmental Management Division on Clean Air Action Plan implementation and how are we going to achieve these goals. You know, as Augie mentioned, and I'm sure everybody here is familiar with, we updated the cap in 2017. We have goals to go 100% zero emissions on the cargo handling equipment by 2030, trucks by 2035, and make some pretty significant reductions in greenhouse gases as well. And achieving those goals is, you know, not just going to happen by magic. It's going to take a lot of hard work. Thankfully, we have a really great opportunity here with the Clean Ports program, which is a brand new program that was included in the Inflation Reduction Act. And really, for those of you who may have been tracking this in DC, really actually was the idea of our own Congresswoman Nanette Barragan with her Climate Smart Ports Act. But essentially, what this program is it's a $3 billion nationwide competitive grant program for zero emission port projects. So, you know, super specific to exactly what we are trying to do and really a great opportunity. The EPA runs the program, and this is a one-time, one-or-done pot of funding. The EPA put out a NOFO in February of 2024 for almost all $3 billion on the street. That NOFO is due, our reply to that NOFO, our application is due at the end of May. So we are working diligently to put together the most competitive application as possible so we can bring as much of this money and resources back to the Port of LA and use it to deploy as many pieces of zero emissions equipment as we can. There's actually 2 separate NOFOs technically. There's the technology deployment one, which is the big one, 2.8 billion, but then there's also a smaller climate and air quality planning NOFO as well. So the maximum award size is large. It's $500 million. And as Augie mentioned, being the largest port in the Western Hemisphere, we do plan to apply for the maximum grant award. We can apply in partnership with private entities. That's likely going to be the terminal operators here at the port. And there's a minimum 20% non-federal cost share that we hope to exceed, and with port funding as well as funding from the terminal operators. So what can we do with this money? There's 3 big categories of eligible expenses. The first is the actual equipment. So think the cargo handling equipment, trucks, locomotives, harbor craft. It has to be zero emissions, no non-zero emissions or no low NOx emissions or anything like that. 100% zero emissions, which effectively means battery electric or a hydrogen fuel cell. the infrastructure that can support the equipment. So, the charging apparatuses. Shore power is an eligible expense, and then support activities, which can include things like certain community benefits like workforce training and outreach. Notably not eligible is the behind the meter electric grid upgrades and other things that we need to do in order to achieve the overall 2030 goal. So what are we going to apply for? Well, the last couple of weeks, we've been talking closely to the terminal operators. We've been doing this since the cap was updated through, demonstration and planning and proving these technologies. But now, we're kind of hitting the 0 hour here. We have to start putting up or shutting up. And so we've been having that conversation with them, this one-time opportunity, what do you want to do? We essentially put out a mini RFI and asked each terminal to come to us with a project. And we got back over $700 million in projects that are ready to go across the major container terminals. So we're going to break that down. 418 million in our application will be funded by the grant, and then the terminals and the port will match that with a combined 285 million. So 40%, so exceeding that 20% threshold. And then we're also going to be pursuing two non-equipment pieces as well. One is a community-led zero emission grant program. So we're working really closely with Dana and the Harbor Community Benefits Foundation on this. But the idea here is to set aside anywhere from $25 to $50 million of that money that isn't designated for a specific zero emission project, and stand up a process that HCBF will run in order to select zero emission projects that are priorities for the community. So it would still have to be an activity that's eligible under the overall grant program. So, equipment, trucks, things like that. But the port and the terminals would not be making decisions about where that money goes. That would be 100% community driven. And then we are also going to pursue one shore power project at the auto carrier terminal. We have to install, we have shore powered all the container terminals, but we do have to install it at some of the non-container terminals that are now newly under the requirements of CARB's revised at berth rule. And I'm not going to read through all this, but here's a breakdown, and happy to share this slide that details the specific projects that were submitted to us. This is very high level, but you can see some pretty big numbers, lots of pieces of equipment. If you add all this up, it's over 400 pieces of zero emission equipment across the port, which will get us about a quarter of the way towards that 2030 goal if this project is completely funded in terms of turning over all of the diesel cargo handling equipment that's currently out there. So when you think about this program, if it's successful, combined with other programs out there like the Hydrogen Hub, the federal funding that's become available is really going to help us make a big dent in getting to 2030. And I talked a little bit about this, but the HCBF, who's going to be running that community benefits piece of the program, is also running a community outreach project for us. We do plan to have robust community engagement here. We've been talking to, in forums like this. We've been convening in the environmental justice community, trying to get as much feedback as we can from folks for what they want to see in this application, get as much support as possible. Community engagement and community support are a really big part of this application, and we want to make sure that we're doing that in the lead up to the application, but also once the application is submitted, kind of on an ongoing basis to make sure that there's accountability built in here. We know that EPA is going to hold us accountable. They're the one writing the check, but we want to hold ourselves accountable too in terms of making publicly available the outcomes of this grant and progress along the way. So I'll stop there and happy to answer any questions. And like I said, we are hoping to demonstrate community support. And so at the end of this process, we'd be extremely grateful for letters of support that we can include in our application when it's submitted at the end of May. Thank you.
Thank you, Artie. Do we have any questions for Artie or?
Pat does.
Pat.
There's electricity all over the port. What's different about this?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? I couldn't quite hear you.
There's electricity all over the ports, the terminals
all are electrified. There's it's low out. There's electrified equipment everywhere. What's different about this?
It's not different, and it's more that it's more of it. You know, right now in our latest emissions inventory, we have 1,400 pieces of cargo handling equipment right now that run on diesel. And under the commitment that we made in the Clean Air Action Plan update, we committed to convert all of that to zero emissions by 2030, which is only 6 years away. So we have to turn over a couple thousand pieces of equipment in a short time. It's incredibly expensive. You know, this is new equipment. The diesel equipment is, it's often double the cost. We've spent the last 8 years really demonstrating that equipment, improving it, that it can work. So there's been little projects along the way, demonstration projects, technology advancement program. We're really turning over to that deployment phase where we're ready to do mass deployment of all of this stuff now that it's commercially available and ready. And so we've done a lot of work to get to this point, and now we're really putting our foot on the gas to make progress to hitting that 2030 goal, thanks to this money that's available.
ZE means electrified equipment rather than diesel powered.
Zero emissions.
Yeah, zero emissions. So it's either a battery, like an electric car, but just a forklift or a top handler using a battery, or the other major technology is a hydrogen fuel cell, which uses hydrogen to power. It's an electric motor using a technology called fuel cell technology. So you're not combusting the hydrogen. There's no emissions. The only emission is water vapor, actually. So those are the two major types of technology that we are expected to deploy to hit the 2030 goal. And just one clarification, because this has come up from other groups. All of the projects that we're submitting under the Clean Ports program will be battery electric. We're not going to be pursuing any hydrogen projects through this particular program.
James?
James Campo.
Thank you, Artie, for the presentation. Will older container ships in 6 years from now be turned away from the port that are idling in the port and have no electric ability to plug into the port? Will the older ships be turned away?
So under the CARB's revised at berth rule, it's phased, and forgive me, I don't know the exact when certain ships and certain container terminals are required to either plug in or use carbon capture, but eventually they all will be required to do one or the other, either plug in or we have a barge that can pull up alongside them and actually a sock on a stack capture the carbon. So that is the new CARB regulation that is currently going into effect. That's part of the reason we're pursuing the shore power project at the auto carrier terminal as a part of this project, because that is one of the new classes of ships that will have to plug in under the revised CARB regulation.
Thank you. It was just today I saw on the internet that we have the 5th worst air in the nation, both ports, Long Beach and Port of Los Angeles. So thank you.
Anybody else?
So folks, what we're asking you, and in particular the neighborhood councils specifically, and I think Coastal already did it, but we're asking you for a letter of support. We're submitting the application in late May. I'm hoping that this could actually go to, I hope the motion could be made right now, and the committee could get these to the neighborhood councils, to the full neighborhood councils in early May, so we could put this in our package and saying that we have the community's support. We're asking for $500 million, and we need it to get to our goal. And this is great for our community. So I don't see a downside unless you guys do.
I move.
I second it. Mark, well, wait a minute. We have to do it by neighborhood council.
I would move to table that takes precedence for Northwest because we have a couple of members.
Go ahead.
Well, we have a couple of members who wanted to contribute to the statement who are at conferences, one of them in Washington, D.C. As we speak, and wanted to contribute to this. So we have time to do it through our regular planning committee.
We'll be meeting again before the Northwest Board meeting, so we can take it up then. And that way the other comments incorporated into the letter before we vote on it.
Okay.
But that's specific to Northwest. I don't know what Central wants to do, or Coastal.
Let's see. I
If the
have
coastal's already done it.
three.
Doug, do you want to clarify? Are you still there? Oh, there he is. Yes.
Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, at our, what month is this? April? Okay, at our April 15th meeting, we had a motion come forward, and what the motion actually said was that the motion is directed to the port. And the motion basically said, we urge the port to apply for a grant to do these things. And based on the presentation, it's pretty much what the port has done. So, I mean, we can throw another motion on for a letter but frankly, based on that motion, I think the coastal could just write a letter saying essentially to the port, thank you for making the application. We wholeheartedly support it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we can go either way. I'll leave it up to Robin.
Well, normally a letter of support that goes in a grant like this, Doug, is formatted the way the one that they have presented. I don't know if you saw it, but
no,
I gave us a sample letter that is formatted correctly for this kind of an application.
It's on the screen right now if you could see the screen.
Yeah.
So with that being,
Okay, I don't know to whom this letter was sent, but I haven't seen it, so.
it's in our packet, no. I move that
Okay.
coastal, as stated in the letter example, that we support this motion.
And submit a letter.
And
To be
submit a
submitted.
letter of support for this grant.
Yeah, I would just say on that motion, yeah, just make the motion that this is the letter that we would send.
Yeah, so exactly what I'd like to do. Yeah, thank you, Doug. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we'll vote. Adele,
Yes.
Elise,
Yes.
Mona,
Yes.
and Robin. Okay, we'll bring that to our AdCom. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Okay, and Central, if I could get somebody to make a motion on that.
Well, I misspoke earlier. I'm Northwest, not
Yes.
Central.
Well, we still like you at Central.
Yeah,
Frank or
yeah, I'll move to support the letter.
second, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll just take a quick vote. Frank,
Yes,
Lamar,
Yes.
and myself, yes.
Thank you.
Thank
And then
you.
Northwest, if you need us to come back again or something, let us know.
Okay, I don't think we need you. We just want to add a few things.
Okay,
We just have a few things we want to add to the letter.
okay, wonderful.
Good letter, good letter.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it. I think this is great for our community, so thanks.
This is
So
exciting.
much.
And the person that had the things to add said he supported the letter, but he would like to add some things and he couldn't be here to do that. So we just
Yeah.
wanted to wait at our
No.
May meeting.
Thanks, Artie. Thanks for spending your time with us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Thank you for having me,
Thanks, Artie,
for the support.
and thanks, Augie.
Yeah, you will.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is the intersection of the Harbor Boulevard and Highway 47. There's some suggestions from James Campo.
Hi, did you want me to speak?
Yes, was there specific items that you wanted to have that on?
You asked to be on the agenda, James. so
Okay,
we put it
well,
on there.
Basically, it's the truck reroute suggestion that I sent to the three chairpersons of the planning committee for this joint meeting today, and just suggesting, do you want me to read the suggestion? Southbound 110 freeway with trucks destined for San Pedro cargo terminals must exit on Harry Bridges and come down John S. Gibson Boulevard to enter either the multiple shipping entrance at the main gate across the street from LAPD Harbor Station, or proceed further past Channel Street onto Pacific Avenue to Front Street for the China shipping gate. This would keep the trucks off of Harbor Boulevard completely if the new route is lawfully obeyed. The trucks have always been aggressive in hogging the exit lanes on Harbor Boulevard, especially when we have cruise ships coming in there and creating a traffic mess mixed with passenger vehicles and buses for the Los Angeles World Cruise Center, as well as all the major roads to downtown San Pedro. So I think it should kind of go along with that new interchange reconfiguration project. I looked through it briefly and I didn't see anything addressing that. Two other things I wanted to just suggest. It seems like it might be tandem in the timeline of the Vincent Thomas Bridge redeck work, which I don't know how that's going to work out, doing this reconfiguration project. And also, it's kind of the end of any design for future Metro Rail public transportation coming to San Pedro in the future. It's going to bury that canyon where the rails lay between Knoll Hill and the existing 47 right now. And I did ask about some clarification about how that was going to be addressed, and they said infill. So that means burying the tracks, burying the canyon.
No, we take the tracks out.
Well, yeah, of course, but the area where the tracks lay wouldn't be a possibility to have any train tracks for any future Metro Rail down the line if San Pedro ever gets a Metro Rail coming here from the other parts of the city. So that was kind of sad, but perhaps we'll get a monorail or something to go over it all. But that was my idea about, especially with the new West Harbor development coming, that we should address the truck traffic, even with the new interchange, because nothing is addressing the southbound trucks coming down the 110 exiting Harbor Boulevard, even with the new configuration plan. Thank you.
You want to impede the Wilmington community with traffic and remove from San Pedro?
No, if they got off at John, I'm sorry. If they got off at John Gibson, they come down,
They get off on Wilmington at Harry Bridges.
Yeah, but they're coming parallel down to the freeway. They're coming south parallel on the freeway. And so, maybe half of the trucks might be going, they're coming down John S. Gibson.
So, can I say a couple things? So right now, the SR-47 is a fancy term for the Vincent Thomas Bridge. And right where the Vincent Thomas Bridge connects over here in San Pedro, we're reconfiguring the on and off ramps there. If you're coming from Long Beach to San Pedro, right now you go to the left and you take the same off ramp that when people are coming southbound 110 go to. What we're going to do is create a new off ramp that goes to the right and leads right into the China shipping terminal. So there'll be two off ramps now instead of one. The work will be starting in about 3 weeks. You're going to see a little bit of some detours happening. In about 2 months from now, you're going to see Knoll Hill being impacted. We had several meetings with Eastview Little League. And so they understand what the changes are going to be happening soon. This is about a 30-month project. It's going to take some while to do. And then we talked about the Vincent Thomas deck replacement. We don't know anything about that yet, but we're thinking that maybe at the tail end of our project, that project might start. So we don't know, but that's what we're kind of making that assumption. With that being said, we don't know. I mean, the way we designed this, hopefully all the traffic will be fine. I mean, we're having another on-ramp or a couple more off-ramps and stuff like that.
We're the government, right?
Yeah. So, but we're saying we don't know yet. So when you make a motion saying, well, let's do a different traffic pattern, what happens if everything's just fine with this new one?
Well, look, because what you just said, does that address anything that James said? Because you're talking about traffic coming from Long Beach, right? And where else? It's going to be separated now with the new 47 off ramps. How about the southbound traffic on the 110 is what James is raising. Is that going to change?
Well, yes, there's when you're coming down and getting off there at Swinford, now there's 4 lanes instead of 3. And the leftmost lane is the one that you could make a left turn on to get onto Harbor Boulevard to get into China shipping. So right now, the way it is, it's getting congested with just having one off ramp, and you have people merging from Long Beach and the southbound 110, and it does back up. We're saying with this new design, and we're hopeful that won't happen. What I'm saying is, why don't you see and wait 30 months, see what happens. And then maybe this motion might be more appropriate at that time, because we don't know right now. But if you want to make this motion, you're gonna have to address that to Caltrans rather than the Port of LA. So, yeah.
Yeah, and as Augie was mentioning, I do believe once the traffic of the trucks is taken to the other side, the cross of the traffic is going to be minimized. I've been stuck in that.
Yeah, I've been stuck in that loop too, and yeah.
Are you saying that this is something you could address in the future with truck pattern exhibits to your terminal leases? In other words, if you tell Trade Pack and you tell China Shipping, if you're coming down south and your trucks are coming southbound on the 110, get off on Erie Bridges and come down Gibson.
There you go. Or what you could do is on the Harbor Boulevard, you could say no trucks, right? Simple as that.
Harbor Boulevard exit.
Yeah, when you're coming southbound on the 110 and you get off on Harbor Boulevard there with that big retaining wall right there, just say no trucks could exit there, right? You can do that, simple as that. And that way, you know, it won't clog up that intersection. But I'm thinking with this new design, you're probably not gonna have that in the future.
Did the EIR for that or the designers for that consider what James Campbell is saying?
Did they consider it? I'm not sure. But we don't know until, you know, in 30 months until it gets redone. I mean, you know, certainly you could come back in 30 months and if that's still a problem, you could say, hey, we'd like to have the trucks get off here on, you know, John S. Gibson.
Maybe we want to have them do it now until the transition gets done. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, maybe. But, you know, once again, you're going to have to make that request to Caltrans.
Who's the engineer in charge for the port? This is the port project, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to what it was said about about the rails behind Knoll Hill.
Yeah, I don't.
Why are the rails being taken out?
I have to relook at the project. I'm not sure if they are being taken out.
Can you check on that?
Yeah.
That's actually, to me, a big concern.
Yeah. But
Losing that potential connection.
Is it a light rail that will never happen?
no, but light rail goes in the middle. I mean, when you go to Long Beach, light rail drives down the street just with the cars and stuff. So I don't see why that's a problem. I mean, you can go back behind that Knoll Hill. I don't think so.
But you know, why are they being taken out? If we could find that out there.
Well, if they are being taken out, it's because that one off ramp is coming there. But I'm not sure.
Room for the off.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the design on that to see if
Yeah,
that rail
okay.
is being taken off. I'm not sure if it's being.
Port of Solon.
But I know one thing, we're not gonna bury the rails and stuff like that. If when we do that, we usually take all that stuff out and the wall.
Okay. Jason, you had a comment?
Yeah, well, do we have a diagram of because nothing's being shared right now for the remote viewers, if you have anything there.
No, we don't have a diagram of the ramp modification, but we've had it in previous presentations, so I believe it should be on our website or on Northwest website.
Yeah, the port just updated a great addition to their website.
Yeah.
Where it has drawings of what's gonna look like, current photos today, the detour schedule. I mean, it's a nice website or page on the web that the port has put together.
Go to www.portoflosangeles.org under community. There is, I believe it's I forgot what it's called, but it's something like SR 47 reconfiguration project or something like that. It's under the community tab.
Great. Any further comments? James, did you have any further?
Yeah, I just want to say I couldn't see who was speaking. I think it was Augie, but
yeah, it was Augie. Sorry.
Yeah, hey Augie. And then, but what I understood from Sarah's presentation and then what was sent to me that everybody coming from Long Beach to exit into San Pedro was going to do a right turn onto Front Street there. And then if we wanted to go to West Harbor, we would hang a right and go to West Harbor. And the trucks would go straight into China Shipping And it would happen that way. That was news you said to me, Augie, this just now, of there would be both a right exit and a left exit, as shown as the existing one. The plan I saw showed everything going to the right. And then I looked at it and I said, well, what about the southbound 110 trucks? Because there would be no option for them to get over to Front Street like that. They would have to come the existing way, Harbor, hang a left, go over to Front. So that's why I brought it up. But yeah, and thank you, Diana, for reiterating the end of if you're going to fill the canyon, of course, the rails are coming out. So, and there's a sadness to that, because that's kind of like tearing up the tracks of the red car that went, down Santa Monica Boulevard and everywhere else. So once they're gone, they're gone. So thank you.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on to our next item, item 5 on the agenda, and it's the EV Clean 15 project.
Alcohol permit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm moving ahead. I'm in the future. Item 4, alcohol permit for West Harbor, and we have Alan Johnson.
Here's our presentation. Well, I just would like to begin by how pleased I am that getting to West Harbor is of such good import to everyone here, because I could not agree more. And as far as all this work in West Harbor, I just know people will beat a path to our door no matter what. Again, my name's Alan Johnson. I'm with Jericho Development, West Harbor. I'd like to thank the committee for our opportunity to present our proposed liquor licensing program tonight. And I'm going to do a lot of reading here because you are our first presentation, so forgive me. And asking letters of support from the individual neighborhood councils. We're going to be requesting that too. With me is Matt Mello of FD Design, who is helping us navigate through the LA City Planning and the state of California's Alcoholic Beverage Control Board processes. Maybe that's it. I'm going to give a quick overview of what we have planned, and Matt, being the technical expert, will give us more detail, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have at the end, with as much time as you allow. Let me just start with where we are now. We have submitted our plan to LA City Planning for our master conditional use permit for liquor sales. And this master permit will allow us to allow West Harbor to do the heavy planning and licensing work, really making it so our tenants don't have to individually do all this and hire their own lobbyists and go through the whole process that you have to do to get a conditional use permit in the city of Los Angeles. They will still need to obviously apply for their own individual liquor license and the fingerprinting and background checks and everything that it takes to get a liquor license in the state of California, which is onerous, or it's important and thorough, I should say, and onerous, by the way. Important. So, but that's the state, city's a piece of cake. We are proposing a very flexible plan because of as tastes and trends change, and as our businesses come and go, the same people we start with, it'll be a different mix in 5 years and a different mix in 10. Some will stay, some will go, and it's just, because of this anticipated turnover, which we just know is going to happen, like in all properties of this and projects of this size, we're asking for a whole host of different licensing options. From the basic full 47 on sale, which is a traditional restaurant license, to beer and wine only, to breweries. Our first tenant was Mike Hess Brewing. We're in talks with people who want to put in a winery. We've discussed with distilleries, off sale retail stores, the people that take for takeaway, sales on boats. There's just, who knows what's going to be next, what the trends are, but we want to have as flexible. We want to do all this planning, put as many options out there as we can, and then be able to respond to the market as these things change. One of the really unique aspects that we're proposing is this turning all our designated common spaces. The North Park, which is under construction now, down next to Maritime Museum, we have the Central Park, kind of the project's living room. will have all the entire promenade, the entire length, the amphitheater, so you could so the idea is you could buy a alcoholic beverage at the licensees and take it from that premises and go walk out on the promenade and to these other places, get some food, take it down to the amphitheater lawn for a picnic, or just walk around the promenade, walk into our overwater decks. We have many of those. So it's really just making it a lot more casual. Let the tables turn over, let people enjoy the sunshine. That sort of, like kind of the rest of the world does that. We don't do that so much here in California, but it's not that different what the fish market used to be able to do in that same space. There will of course be restrictions on that. You won't be able to take it into the parking lot or off the premises. So there'll be additional security and to enforce the rules and, just make us a smooth running operation. And that's basically the basic concept. And for now, for more details, I'm going to turn it over to Matt.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Matthew Mello. I am the agent representing the West Harbor project for EPI Design and Consulting. And it's our pleasure to help them with their liquor licenses and their conditional use permits. Alan did a really good job of explaining what a master CUP is. It's similar to what is being used at various shopping malls like Westfield, Century City, or Grand Central Market. And the common consumption license is similar to what a place like the Hollywood Bowl has, where you can get liquor from a vendor and take it to your seat and enjoy it in the entertainment venue. So the next slide will go over kind of some of the unique features of the West Harbor project. I presume most of you are familiar with the project. This is definitely a years-long love letter to San Pedro and to the city of Los Angeles writ large. It's a very large site, 42 acres. This details all of the attractions and retail options, food options. It's going to be very dog-friendly, very family-friendly, kid-friendly. Again, this unique alcohol permit is not unique to West Harbor, but it is a unique alcohol permit that is only used by a small number of large-scale venues or large-scale footprints like this project. Next slide. This is showing a kind of a bird's eye view of where the site is located in relation to all of San Pedro. This site does sit within the jurisdiction of the Central San Pedro Neighborhood Council. And you can kind of see the parcel map on the right there shows the entire footprint of the property ownership. And then the radius around it is all the notification that is going to have to go out before the hearing. The applicants did pay for mailing labels, notifications, and all of the statutorily required making people in the community aware of what they're asking for and what the decision maker is going to be deciding on. Next slide, please. So these are some unique features of this site. You can kind of see it's keyed to some of the photos there. You can see the Central Park area is number 3 right in the center. You can see the amphitheater and entertainment section is to the right, 7. The North Park area is number 1. And then everything in between, you can see the courtesy docks, where the moored vessels will be for enjoying alcoholic beverages, where the predominant kind of central area where all the restaurants and shops are going to be, and kind of the preponderance of all the alcohol uses. And then the grayed out area on the bottom is all the parking lot space. There will be ample parking as there is now. And you can see also where the USS Iowa may potentially be moored, kind of where although I suppose that's no longer an option.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have to update our slides.
Very good. Okay. Next slide. So this is looking more granularly at the types of alcohol licenses. Within the orange boundary is all the areas of common consumption that will be entitled under this master CUP. And then you can see all the specific licenses, the brewery, distillery, restaurant, bar, retail, kind of a whole plethora of different ABC license types that are going to be scattered throughout that interior area there. And then on the next slide, this is just a very small sample of some of the tenants that are going to be leasing spots at the West Harbor project. It's gonna be a huge variety of restaurants, from Asian inspired, Mexican inspired, pizzerias, desserts, bakeries, even some southern options as well. There's gonna be something for everybody. It's very much meant to be appealing to all palates, all tastes, all cultures, all preferences. Very much is gonna be the Port of Los Angeles's backyard, like very much a place for people to congregate and connect and bridge all sorts of divides.
But there's no sky bar.
There is no sky bar, no.
We're working on
You can get high,
it.
get high on your own.
Next slide, please. And this is the overall site plan showing areas that are currently under negotiation, areas that have already been executed, and so on, with just a few of the various tenants called out, including the first one, Mike Hess Brewery, kind of on the right side of the map there. And then on the next slide, we kind of get a little more zoom in there. This is the North Park tenants. And then on the next slide is moving to the right. This is more of the central area, buildings B and C. Some of the various retail, obviously there's not gonna be alcohol at, Columbia or Rip Curl. There's gonna be a lot of non-licensed retail options as well. On the next slide is building A, and this is where the preponderance of the restaurants are gonna be, as you can see.
And that's what's going on now.
Yeah, 1A is our first building.
On the next slide. And these are just some renderings. These are publicly available on the website and they're public documents. You can see what the vision very much is, what the ethos and the ambience is going to be for the West Harbor project, and kind of the vibe they're trying to establish at the water side there. Next slide. And this is my concluding slide, just kind of getting into the nitty gritty of what we're asking from the city. Again, this is a master conditional use permit for offsite and onsite consumption, offsite sales, onsite sales, and onsite consumption, full line of alcoholic beverages, hours of operation, 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. daily, which is standard. And then just kind of, again, getting even more granular, it's going to be approximately 36 restaurants, 6 bars, and so on. It'll be a maximum of 60 ABC licenses. As far as what that, exact ratio is, that is flexible and might change. But this is a very, very good idea of what the distribution is going to be as far as the percentage of restaurants versus more specialty uses like a brewery or a spa. And there will be approximately half of those will also have the ability to have live entertainment or dancing. And live entertainment could either be something as benign as a DJ or having, just like one live person singing. It's not all going to be like raucous kind of, like heavy entertainment, so to speak. And so, so we're very happy to present tonight where we are looking for a community impact statement in support of this project. We are happy to go to the Central San Pedro Land Use Committee and as well as the Central San Pedro full board as whatever is required and whatever is requested from us. We are more than happy to oblige and comply. So thank you so much for your time tonight, for your attention.
Thank you. And Northwest.
Thank you.
Well, certainly.
We'll be in front of Northwest.
All 3 if we need to,
Yeah.
yes.
Look at all, by law,
Yeah.
all public facilities belong to all neighborhood councils.
Oh, very good. Okay.
Don't get her on, because some central.
All right, well, we have a question from Robin, and we'll start with her.
Thanks. Matt, I was wondering if you could go back to the slide with the license types. This is maybe the second or third one, and tell us the description of each one. That's such a variety. Seems a little strange. I mean, and the second question is, what other permits? Oh, no, you were there. Go back.
That one?
There it is. Yeah.
No, the one with the numbers up. Yeah, that one. I'm just wondering what those license types are, or are those, I don't know what those are. I think they're license types. And then what other permits are required for the live entertainment and what is the public process for that? But first, if you could tell me what those license types are.
Certainly. So the license type number 2, 02, that is for a winery. So somebody who's making their own wine and selling wine. 21 is for retail. So a market, liquor store, any sort of like food market that is just selling alcohol to go. 74 is a distillery, so distilling spirits, distilling hard liquor. Let's see, 48 is a bar. So a bar would not allow minors, it would be 21 and over. A 47, which is not called out there, 47 is for a restaurant, so a sit-down, bona fide restaurant selling a full line of alcohol. Let's see, 23 is a brewery, beer, just like a beer brewery. And then 44 is the moored boats, so serving alcohol on a boat that is kind of, moored there permanently.
Oyster bar.
Essentially, yeah, oyster bar, any sort of, thing you can do with a boat to, facilitate serving liquor and enjoying liquor on the boat. So only within the confines of the boat.
Are these numbers related to specific buildings, or is this just sort of an example?
It's more or less an example. Yeah.
What's the difference between distillery and brewery?
So the brewery does beer only, and then the distillery does spirits, hard liquor. And then 2 is the winery, so that's just bottling wine.
This place is gonna have a little of everything. Wow.
I think it's safe to say that it won't have everything. It won't have all those things, but the idea is to build enough flexibility into this master plan to have some different options. That's why we definitely won't use all those licenses. We don't have space for all those licenses, but you need them in certain buildings, in certain areas, and then you designate them. Yes.
I'm curious, why from 6 a.m.? Sound a bit tad early.
It's their stores might be open. Someone might need to come in and get a pack of beer. Maybe get some beer, get on their boat and go out and fish or something like that. Those are some standard, yes.
Oh, I see, okay. I get it. When do I ask a question, then I. Oh, yeah, that's true too, yeah.
Yes, we have a question back here.
And then that there was part 2 of my question about the permits required for live entertainment. What's the public process for that? What kinds of permits are those?
So for just live entertainment, kind of generally, that's part of this master conditional use permit. So the Office of Zoning Administration will decide whether to grant the entertainment and what conditions they're going to place on the entertainment. However, for the dancing specifically, this is kind of strange, but if there's any sort of dancing or a dance floor, we need to get a supplemental permit from the Los Angeles Police Department. So we'll be going through a separate process with the LAPD to grant the ability to dance.
And
yeah.
And I don't know if it still is now, but you have to go through the vice squad.
Correct.
Yeah, because clearly dancing is a vice.
So we do get calls from Vice on different applications going through.
And obviously one of our next big stops is LAPD, and we present this all to them, and they have a look, and they come in and with their own set of conditions.
So the same public hearing that involves these alcohol licenses also is the master entertainment permit?
Correct.
Okay.
I had a question.
Yeah, we had a question back here.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, my concern would be, actually alcohol coming in from outside of this area, coming in, being, brought in and in the parking lot, but then smuggled into the actual venue itself, in the venues itself. What
Yeah.
kind of security or what kind of conditions are being?
A lot. We don't have our security plan here, but that, obviously that's very important to us too, that we don't have that happen. So it's just a matter of there'll be a big security force and a big presence there for all kinds of reasons why you would want security down there. So that was something we would take very seriously, and we will have a big, strong presence there to keep an eye on that and everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah, restricting alcohol to the area would be great, and
Yeah.
not.
Yes, no, usually when you leave a premises like no alcoholic beverages beyond this place, beyond here, ours area is just bigger. And again, there's the water side. So we will have security at all those points of exit and entry to, obviously no one's going to get stopped and frisked or anything, but we will keep an eye that as much as we can to prevent that from happening. Which is our tenants want that to happen, our customers want that to happen, most of them.
Well, yes, and the amphitheater itself, you know, generally an amphitheater has security right there around the.
Oh, yes, we'll have that too.
So how will that be filtered? Will that be a secondary checker to see what the.
Yeah, well, the night of the show, that will, it's similar to like you would see at the Greek, or you'd see at the Hollywood Bowl. It would be very similar to that, like there's a sort of a standard way, and I will say that the for the people and the number of security guards for a show is phenomenal. And like you see at every place, this is necessary and important.
James, you had a question.
And then can I ask?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to tag on to that last comment about the enforcement. If people are able to walk in and out of the place they bought the alcoholic beverage, and then they're walking down the common breezeway or whatever pathways, it seems like the enforcement issue will be a huge problem, especially with youth and also it makes great business sense that the port has the umbrella master liquor license. I would think, as Alan said, companies going in and out of business, and it's not such a hassle for them to get a liquor license. But on the same, they would probably not have to be so worried about losing their liquor license as far as enforcement, selling to underage people or selling to some people that walk out the door and then hand it to all the youth. So it's going to be a huge enforcement problem. But thank you for the presentation.
Well, and one of the requirements will be, and the ability for common consumption is restricted to only the 47 licenses. It is not, the bars won't be able to do it, beer and wine only won't be able to do it. So for all the 47s, the on sale general licenses, they will all have their own branded cups. So that is one way you can track who has what, and that is another requirement.
Elise?
Because I think this is an incredibly creative way to handle the site, but at the chamber, we get a lot of questions. So just on the whole issue of security, is there a maximum capacity on the site? Like if you're bringing in a big concert that night, you'll know when to shut off people coming into the venue, the entire 42 acres.
Yes.
Do we have a number on what the maximum capacity on the site is?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
And then going back to the security plan, because I'm getting questions on this already. Do you have to present that as a part of the package going into the hearing? So there would be an opportunity for us to take a look at the security plan and weigh in on that.
Yes.
And then also, will LAPD and Port Police both review the security plan?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right, excellent, thank you.
Doug, you had a question?
Yeah, and so a lot of it's been addressed, but really it has to do with the fact that you're going to have a lot of people drinking a lot of booze, and there's a lot of cars. And I know at our meeting Monday evening with the port,
Yes.
there was some discussion about Port Police potentially, beefing up the number of officers and maybe even having a specific unit that would cover West Harbor. So yeah, I'm glad that they will be a part of all of this, I presume. But
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
also a little bit concerned to make sure that there is enforcement, or at least an eye being kept on areas around there. I mean, I don't want a bunch of people who have had a lot to drink coming out onto Harbor Boulevard and going up 22nd Street at 1 o'clock in the morning, half in the bag or more.
Well,
that could be a real problem, or out on the harbor or anywhere else. So this is potentially an impact that
absolutely,
could
and
happen.
like any restaurant, the very restrictions on over serving minors, all those same enforcement is, again, it will occur down there as any restaurant anywhere would have. And that's part of why the branded cup. So if someone is overserved, you know who did it, and that's how you lose your liquor license. By violating that, and so and a business down there or any restaurant can't be a restaurant without a liquor license, so it's like the lifeblood of your business.
But I think to Doug's point, I know the port's going through their budget process right now. And I think Doug, Port Police are looking at an addition of 16 positions.
Right.
And then that dedicated unit, because they know West Harbor's coming online. Do you remember the numbers?
I thought it was more.
It's 18
No,
total,
it was-
16 officers,
It's 16 officers. That's what I mean.
sergeants.
Yeah. So.
And that's this year. I mean, next year, the following year, there could be more.
Correct, but they were projecting in their budget presentation that they were asking for these positions because of West Harbor and these amenities coming online. So I think it behooves all of us to support these positions in the port budget moving forward to make sure that, and support the port police in these.
And we have been doing that too,
Yeah.
very,
And you-
regularly, every opportunity to, because we're gonna have millions more visitors to our waterfront.
Diana?
Yeah, and this, we've kind of been talking around it. But one of my concerns is what prevents a 21-year-old from getting a drink and then sharing it with a bunch of 18-year-olds? I mean, how do you?
Security.
Happens anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's, well,
It does.
But this, I mean, this is a new concept for San Pedro. I mean.
The fish market had this same operation on a smaller scale.
On a smaller scale, right.
And it is now, it's a sort of a new thing for state of California and the ABC.
so did they particularly police to watch for
Absolutely,
minors?
absolutely. It's just like someone police watching or the enforcement arm of the alcoholic beverage control to have a liquor store that's selling to minors. You would post someone or you'd send someone into that was underage to buy. And so they're very, the state of California is very tough on it. And they do a lot of enforcement. Not that you can't get around and do that anywhere, but and West Harbor will take it all very seriously because it's our customer experience, it's community safety, it's the future of the project to do as much as we can.
And my other concern has to do with the experience we've had at concerts where there may be a lot of security, but we don't attend very many big concerts. And it seems like every time we go, we have a problem with someone being extremely inebriated. And one time throwing up on us, next time being.
It was Pat.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad. And so they've got the security, but it's not. I just have to raise that issue.
Let me tell you about the guy at the Greek Theater during a, Glenn, what was it, Eagles guy, Glenn?
Oh.
Then,
Campbell?
No, no, the other guy.
Yeah.
But it was New York Minute, and the guy was going freaking wild during the New York Minute song. I'm like, holy cow, we had to leave our seats. So, just so you know.
Oh, no.
What can happen anywhere? Go ahead, Gwen.
Should the activities eventually impact LAPD in any way, the to and from up and down the freeway? How can that possibly be addressed? Because there likely is going to be some inebriation moving into the neighborhood up the freeway.
there's no doubt these conditions will be put on us by LAPD, and if we don't live up to the conditions, they shut it down. They have that ability and that.
One of the things that is very important is that when the city of LA instituted conditional use permits, it was exactly that. The use has conditions on it.
Right.
And if they don't meet those conditions at any time, those permits can be revoked.
Yep.
And so, let's hypothetically say that a condition is very common with alcohol permits, is even though it's not alcohol related, it's graffiti must be removed in 24 hours. So if graffiti is not removed in 24 hours, they risk losing their permits. So we, the city, unfortunately, or fortunately, we place a lot of conditions on the alcohol permit because we know that it's their livelihood.
Yeah.
And so I can go to Alan and say, Alan, your graffiti's been there more than 24 hours, it needs to be removed, and they're going to do it because it's a part of the condition. So all those conditions must be met. We are right now, for example, going through a relocation permit for one of the bars here on Pacific. I can't remember the name of it. I forgot. It's right here somewhere that they had a shooting or whatever.
But
That one. Sorry, I forgot. And so there is, that's how it works. And in many cases in the city of LA, we have revoked conditions when they don't meet. Excuse me, we have revoked permits when they don't keep their conditions that they are required.
But I will say historically, Alan, is that the Chamber of Commerce has only supported alcohol use when it was attached to food in a sit-down restaurant. So this is a departure for us. That's why I'm asking these questions, because just because of the number of bars and different things happening in the area, it was very important that any new permits be attached directly to food service. So there was that food consumption while people were drinking. So I mean, I think it's very creative.
I will say that older permits in the city don't have conditional use permits. And so it's harder to shut them down. The Alhambra bar, for example.
Yes.
Is grandfathered in, there is no conditional use permits, and it's so hard for us to do anything. If that bar were in any situation today, we could shut that down. I'm not, we're not saying that. I'm just saying that we can. So that's why CUPs exist. It's a good tool. It's a good planning tool.
Yeah.
To protect the community.
Well,
Asking these questions.
It's a great question. Great question.
Yeah, we need to flesh it out because we're gonna get these questions in the community. So, yeah.
By the way, it's Don Henley.
Yeah.
Oh, Don Henley. Right.
And one thing I was gonna mention is like, I think a lot of the control is within the business because we have not had an issue with like Brewery West.
Correct.
And, you know, they serve beer and they control the consumption when they see someone.
Fleet Week's another good.
So
Yeah.
I think
A lot of
that's
security at
what's
Brewery
gonna be.
West. Yeah, and that's, yeah, it is.
They've heard enough liquor talk. Let's go get a drink. Where's this at?
Okay.
Somewhere you don't want to
That's
be.
where I need to go.
Go ahead, Pat.
I want to be sure I understand a couple of things here. Maybe Matt, you may have to step in here. If I understand it, there's going to be one licensee and that'll be West Harbor.
No,
No,
we are the master conditional use permit holder.
okay,
The individual tell me if I'm wrong. The individual restaurant will have it. It's specific to that restaurant and specific to people. You need, when you go in and apply for your license, you get fingerprinted, you get background check. You have like, they want to make sure no organized crime ties, no criminal history. They don't just give them to anybody. So, and it's specific to that. Now they can't pick that up and move it somewhere else. It has to stay within West Harbor and it has to be part of this project. And it's a special dispensation. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, because we're on public property. Public land has certain things that you can do, which is kind of amazing. It's actually helping us in this instance.
let's talk a little bit about the interface between each of these permittees and the CUP holder, which would be you guys. What advantage is it to have the CUP just in your name? And then what is your enforcement responsibility going to be? Who's going to be looking at you for the misbehavior of your tenants?
Well, we're managing the entire property.
Right.
So it is incumbent upon us to be very strict and very controlling and very, because if there are these issues, then the whole project's in jeopardy. Our entire conditional use permits are in jeopardy. And so you'll also have a lot of other restaurant people and license holders that will help make sure that with someone is over serving or serving a minor or any of these violations.
Okay, if there's a restaurant in there that's, selling to minors or something like that, and the police, I guess, or ABC or somebody's gonna come down, are they gonna come to you or to the restaurant or both of you?
They'll go to the license holder and then, yeah, that would be the enforcement arm.
So let me see if I can explain it in easier kindergarten language, as I always say. Before ABC grants an alcohol permit, the city must grant permission to be able to sell it on that property. That's the CUP. So before anyone can sell alcohol, they need a conditional use permit from the city. So master lease is now gonna get the CUP for the whole place. Everybody still needs to apply for their alcohol licenses individually. They have conditions that ABC is putting on them that they must adhere to, or they lose their licenses. The landlord has his conditions that are being placed on them by CUP. So there are double conditions on there. So he will have his conditions that he needs to adhere to. Some of them will be duplicative, some of them will not. And so where it is duplicative, he's gonna wanna make sure it's being taken care of because it affects his CUP. But all of these people will also have their alcohol licenses at risk if they don't follow their conditions.
Well, it's gonna be to West Harbor's advantage for these people to have licenses is these conditions, their leases, if they go out and get one. Or apply for.
No, no one's required to. No one's required to, but
Why did you don't want to sell alcohol?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, but certainly you would want them to.
Okay, we have a few more questions from people
They
online.
don't have to, but
James,
they will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you recognize me?
yeah, James.
Thank you. I knew Pat would start the ball rolling on that. In the land of liability and lawsuits, there could be a scenario where the port master liquor license person would be in lawsuits in case of any tragedies, people falling over, drunk, drowned, dying, murder, whatever. But I think the port master lease liquor license person would be in a lot of lawsuits. Thank you.
Doug, you're next, and then we have Jason.
Okay, just for clarification, is it correct to understand that the conditional use permit, the master permit held by West Harbor, presumably covers every liquor serving establishment there? Now, when...
Speak up a little, Doug. We're having trouble hearing you.
Okay, is that a little better?
Yes.
Okay, I'll move a little closer to the mic here. All right, so every liquor serving establishment will be covered by the master CUP. So my question is, if someone comes in to open a bar, do they also have to go to the city for a permit? Or is that automatically covered under the master CUP? And if so, is it possible that the city would then add additional requirements potentially to the master CUP?
So the answer to your question is yes and no. So the master CUP covers all the ABC licenses at the site. So in addition to getting their ABC license with the state, the tenant will also have to get an administrative clearance with the city pursuant to the master CUP. So one of the conditions of the master CUP is going to be, hey, this entire square footage is entitled for alcohol. Future tenants will need to come back to the city and get, go through a, 3 or 4 week process to get administrative clearance saying pursuant to this master CUP, we are going to be getting an ABC license for this tenant space, and so forth. So there is going to be that third level of scrutiny, if you will. They're not gonna have to get a whole new CUP. It's just like an administrative clearance.
And they also could put additional conditions on them as they saw fit.
Correct.
Okay, I mean, that's what I was wondering. For instance, you mentioned hours beginning at 6 a.m. The city potentially then could say to an individual operator, well, no, you're not going to be serving alcohol before 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, all right. I just want to get a, make sure I understand the entire process. So thanks.
Thanks, Doug. Jason?
Yeah, this is more of a clarification because I think at least parts of this have already been answered. I just want to make sure I'm understanding clearly. Theoretically speaking, if one restaurant messes something up, could the entire property CUP be under risk? And if so, what kind, other than, quote unquote, just keeping an eye on things and making sure the restaurants understand their responsibilities, what kind of safeguards are we putting in against that?
I mean, I think the safeguard is, I think the answer is yes, it could put the entire thing, project at risk. Mainly though, I think the first enforcement would be against that license holder. They would lose their license. Would be probably the first thing the ABC would do, and the police department would come in, so I think that would be the first line. And then if that was a problem, they would put additional conditions on us and additional requirements for whatever deficiencies they saw we needed or we had discussed and we all agreed to, whatever. I mean, we don't have to agree to it. They tell us what we're gonna do and we do it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further questions or comments?
With your lessees, do you have a condition of their lease that they maintain their licenses in good order?
Yes. And they're not only just their licenses, their operation, everything has to have, we're gonna have very high standards because again, that reflects on the entire project. And you know, when someone comes to West Harbor, we wanted to have a certain level of experience and cleanliness, and everybody has to follow our rules. We have a whole lot of rules.
And I think it's worth noting that many of the announced tenants and the upcoming tenants are all known entities in the greater Southern California area. These are not new ventures or new concepts. They do own licenses elsewhere.
Yeah. I think that's important for people to understand.
And so if the neighborhood council see fit, we would very much appreciate letters of support to go into our file for the.
A letter, like a.
Form letters to give to the neighborhood councils to, as a sample.
We have a couple samples from other neighborhood councils, yes.
Okay.
Or is it possible to support the concept and then have you come back when the security plan is established, or, you know, you've talked it over with LAPD, Port Police, you know what kinds of security, just as someone who sells alcohol at large events and has to, you know, deal with that. It's just, I'm just curious. I would just really like.
We'd be happy to come back as often as you need us as we evolve and these things evolve, but these letters need to go in with because our permit is in now.
So the letters have to go in before certain.
When the zoning administrators, when this case comes up, they'll say, you know, have you talked to the neighborhood council? Have you talked to LAPD? Have you talked to the chamber? We talked to the PBID and others.
But so their administrator hasn't been assigned yet, and you don't know when the hearing is.
No, but yes, so.
Give you another,
Right.
just another month to have you come back with the.
Well, I mean, if you have some specific things.
No, I'm just knowing when, you know, I meet with ABC on events, and they tell me exactly what I need to do for Cars and Stripes as an example. And the reason I asked you about the maximum capacity on site is because the number of people on site at the event trigger the number of private security I have to hire for alcohol sales. So was just curious if there was any kind of, you know, if you've had any preliminary conversations with LAPD and Port Police on what you're gonna need to do. I mean, this is all new for us, what you're.
No. They're on our list. We started with you guys and we're working our way towards that.
Correct. Yeah, we did our outreach with the 1-5 prior to filling out the applications. They're already on site. And then obviously we're coming to you and we'll go to the police. Our timeline, given the size of the project, given the complexity of the project, the absolute earliest we'd have a hearing is probably early August. So we're looking at another.
We have time.
Yeah.
I would say another 2 to 2.5 months.
Okay.
So security plan.
Yeah.
What else?
I think that's gonna be crucial.
Anything else?
Do you have the people you need to contact in the neighborhood councils with like sample letters or?
I don't have any specific contact people, no.
We've got sample letters that we've done before, so I'm not. It's pretty simple to do.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, if someone needs one, I think all of us have done one.
I missed, what's the time that you need the letters from the neighborhood council?
By the end of July.
End of July.
Give or take, yeah. Okay.
You're gonna go to the police with a plan, correct?
Indeed, yes.
And then they will probably put some new spin on it, perhaps.
Right, they'll give some suggestions, some recommendations. Mhm.
So maybe would we have time then before the August hearing to hear, with the police's input?
Yeah.
So you'd be a little more advanced.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, we would meet with the police next month, sometime in May.
Okay.
So.
So that would work.
Mhm.
But with that being said, to your point, and to, you're going step by step. It's probably, really advantageous for the neighborhood councils to weigh in even before you go to, the police entities as well. So would.
That's what I said,
Yeah.
conceptual support. I mean,
Exactly.
conceptually, I think this is a creative way to handle the entertainment venue. But it's just, I know the questions I'm already getting.
What are the questions you're already getting?
So there's concern in the community. We're on this, a public meeting. Concern in the community about the type of entertainment that might be scheduled at the concert venue. And that type of entertainment might drive a certain population. I'm telling you, you've heard it too, a certain population to come into the venue for that type of entertainment. And I'm not making any judgments here, but with certain types of entertainment, certain experiences, is extra security being layered on? You add the alcohol component.
I don't know what that has to do with a liquor license.
Because you're bringing in a lot of people into a venue, and what type of security are you bringing?
That's a security thing.
That's what I'm saying. I'm concerned. I love it conceptually. I just want to have a better understanding. But that's what people are saying. And I don't want to call out specific types of music that people have raised concerns about, certain artists that might be coming in. I know West Harbor's heard it.
I could address that.
Yeah.
And I think the best gauge of what kind of music that will be is look what Nederlander, look at their operating history.
Yes.
And it'll be the things they've been doing, the companies.
And these are the questions I want to be able
years
to
old.
answer when I get the phone call.
So I think direct them to their website and see what they're doing now. That's just the kind of thing they will
I
be.
think that's a perfect answer, but she has the answer to people,
I have to answer. We had a concert shut down at the Warner Grand. Remember, Sir Jill? There was a fight in the line because of the artist that was performing. They had to shut the whole thing down. This was when you and I were in Han's office. And I would not let any of my children go because I knew what was going to be happening at the venue. So I'm just saying, I just, these are questions, Rock, that are being raised by not community members that are speaking at public hearings. So I just know what you're going to hear. So I just want to be able to answer it.
If someone wants to do a motion, now's the time to do it.
Could I speak? I got my hand up.
Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, I just want to know what Elise has against polka bands.
I
love accordions. Okay, yeah. Before anybody from Coastal starts making motions, I just want to make sure for the record, June Smith, who serves on the committee, is also present. But from a practical standpoint, I can tell you about the only thing that I think will fly at Coastal would be a motion to endorse the idea or concept or whatever we want to call it of a master CUP. Beyond that, no way without saying specifics.
I agree.
Yeah, that's about, at this point, realistically, I think that's about as good as it's gonna get. Now, later on, if there are more specifics, but I think probably Robin will want to take this into a coastal planning meeting so that we have folks from coastal who are not here who will have a better handle on it. We may request a presentation. I don't know what you're thinking, Robin. But as the guy who has to chair the board meeting, I don't want to spend an hour with people asking a lot of questions and then tabling this. So that's just me being practical. But Robin, you take it away.
Well, I want to hear what June has to say too, but I don't think we're anywhere near ready to make a motion tonight or to consider this tonight. So it'll be at a later date and after a lot more study.
Go ahead, June.
Thank you. I'm sorry I was a little late, but my concern too is about the parameters of the noise. And I'm not sure that those have adequately been answered to those of us who have some sensitivity to that. And I think that it's an opportunity for us who live in the community to raise awareness that noise is a health issue. It's not just a NIMBY sort of thing. I don't want noise in my neighborhood. It is a genuine health concern. And I want our neighborhood council to take that seriously.
Thank you, June.
Just to be clear, this is not the amphitheater.
Right.
Right, yeah, so that's a separate,
Yeah, but you know, you're talking about increased traffic, you're talking about, and what we get down here, of course, are all the races and that sort of thing. So it is a component of the whole project in every aspect of it, and it needs to be raised continuously.
thank you, June. Well, I think, you know, we still have some time before you guys need that letter.
Yes.
We could get.
What I could respectfully request is much detail on what you exactly would like to see. And we can help you with what we're gonna, you know, what we will provide LAPD and the Port Police and whatever else we can help flesh this out. Please let us know.
Yeah, I think even if it was a conceptual security plan that we could kind of respond to, I think it would satisfy most of us. Linda, you had.
I just want to make a comment that I understand, particularly with the security interests, but overall, I'm a little surprised at there's going to be liquor. You know, there's all these restaurants.
That's going to be liquor.
What's going on? And it's kind of like, yeah, really? What did you think this was going to be about?
Well,
And it just a comment.
you know, Linda, I'm glad you raised that point. From somebody that has had an advantage in my life to be able to travel a little bit in my former life, early, younger, you know, maybe 15 years back. I've been in a lot of cities all around the world, port cities, so we've done a lot of cruising. Everywhere else in the world, people, you know, in some amazing ports, adults with a lot of restrictions are allowed to have liquor, you know, within some very, very confined spaces and broad spaces. And even in our, again, in our venues of what you were saying, in our concert venues. And I've had the advantage, you know, instead of traveling the last couple of years, we've been to a lot of concerts all over Southern California. And the controls are extreme. And I have been grateful to not have ever had anybody vomit on me and I mean that with most sincerely. But with that being said, you know, nowhere else do, you know, people are, you know, so restricted on drinking, which I think it's so important. And look what happens at Dodger Stadium. Look at the people that have been
Look at the
hurt.
parking lot at Dodger.
And the
Yeah.
parking lot. So I get the argument, but we, under these confines, and you've done a very good job, Alan, to describe, I mean, this is really restricted. It's gonna be very restricted there. We can be trusted with alcohol. You know, I think that we should be allowed to be trusted with alcohol within the confines. And you know, this is a mega $1 million project. The folks that are coming in to these restaurant venues are gonna have a ton of insurance, a ton of liability, and they're gonna be watching it closely. They're investing millions to go into these spaces in order to run these businesses. So I personally, Robin, I'll tell you, and Doug, I have no problem with raising the motion for for us to approve conceptually moving forward and to give a letter of approval based on what we've heard. And then look at it again with, and listen, as somebody that is in the process of doing our fifth pride on port property and on city property, it's very restrictive on what we have to deal with just serving a little bit of alcohol. And they're going to look at this with razor point of vision of what this harbor project is going to need.
And I appreciate you saying that. And I'm really looking at this as like, we're not coming, say yes, and then we move on and we never talk again.
Right.
I see this as an ongoing dialogue as questions come up, as our plans develop, as things get conditions put on by, we will continue to have these discussions and be available to do whatever we need to do to get people comfortable with this, with the project and with what we're.
I agree.
Are you making a motion?
Yeah, so
No. I already said I don't want this heard tonight. I'm not comfortable with that. I'd like the full committee to be there. This is a big project and I think that's important. I think Doug agrees with that. So let's just wait. And I appreciate your sentiment, Mona. But
Robin, we have 3 board members here and we have a forum.
yeah, no, I know that, but I would want to bring it to the full committee. We've already made that decision.
Robin, but procedurally, if we support it conceptually tonight, doesn't that take it back to the full land use committee where you can all overturn it or add to it, tweak it, refine it?
No, that's a vote of our committee to go right to the board. I don't think there's a huge rush here. I don't know why we would want to even do that.
So Robin, I say with this with complete respect to us all getting together in a joint meeting. You know, we've heard it through this joint meeting. Why do we need to have, I mean, I know we're going to take it back to the separate meeting. But as a point of order, I see no reason why 3 committee members can't be held accountable and all of us for at least putting the motion forward to say yes or no conceptually and push it forward tonight.
Can I jump in and make a quick
Go ahead,
suggestion
Doug.
here? Essentially, just from a parliamentary process, what I would recommend is rather than taking any votes, it's going to go to the full committee. And it's important for that. And I'll tell you why, because if there is a quorum of coastal there tonight, if you vote to send this to the agenda for coastal San Pedro, it will go to the board agenda and essentially bypass the rest of the committee. And what you run into there is the potential at the board meeting of having it just sent back to committee. So I think Robin understands that it needs to go to the agenda. Now, what I wanted to address was to Alan and, you know, the consultant. Okay, thanks. Here's what's helpful, okay? Because ideally, when things come to our agenda, I want to see them adopted, generally speaking. So what you can do to help your cause, I think, first of all, is prepare something, and it doesn't have to be a presentation. You can put it in paper, and this may be also something for Sergio. Number 1, the process, okay? None of us, as far as I know, have ever dealt with this kind of CUP, and I've been doing this 20 years. So if someone can explain simply, this is what this is how it works, okay? Because those are going to be the first questions. And if you can also point to anywhere else, for instance, in the city of Los Angeles, where this has been done, that would be very helpful so that people have an actual situation to look at. I mean, understand, yeah, we're volunteers, but a lot of us have been doing this for a long time. And Coastal, I know, and the other neighborhood councils are sharp. They're very sharp people. So this is the first thing you need to address. What's the process? What's involved? Who's involved? Okay.
Had a great time at the Coastal Neighborhood Council meeting.
Yeah, well, it's important to us, certainly, because yeah, this isn't central, but it is literally across the street from Coastal. Okay, so that's why we have such an interest in it. So hopefully that's helpful. If you can come in with those answers right at the get-go, so we know what we're talking about. Okay.
Not a problem, and in fact, if there are anything else comes up in your committee meetings, let us know.
It sounds like an FAQ.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because especially being able to say right at the beginning, we're not asking for final approval. We're just asking you to say to the city, yeah, go ahead. Let's do this process. Let's have, I don't see anybody having a problem with that. And, maybe we'll throw other things in there. Maybe we'll throw them in later. But to get you past the first step, that's what I think you're going to need to do. So, and you know what? I've been doing this a long time. You can take my advice for what it's worth or not, but I'm trying to be helpful.
Okay, Doug, I think we got the idea. June, is there a last statement you want to make?
No, I just want to agree with Doug that he's absolutely right about the process. And the fact that I think that you're coming to us and explaining and all the rest is excellent. You're willing to work with us is excellent. And I think that you just have to understand our processes so that we don't get short stopped somewhere along the line. So I agree with Doug.
All right,
very good.
Thanks, June. And I will let Coastal figure out what you guys want to do with that.
Thank you.
That half hour.
As we mentioned previously, the timeline for your support letter would be when? July?
July.
End of July, yeah.
End of July. Okay, so we do have time.
We have time.
And I don't think anybody is against it.
No.
Me personally, I'm totally in favor. Like the idea, and I know you guys will do a good job.
Yeah, and like I said, it'll be an ongoing dialogue after July and after August. That we will continue to keep people informed and work with you and answer concerns and address concerns.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
No, anyway, go ahead.
Javier, what's that?
I move on behalf of Northwest Neighborhood Council that we approve it.
Okay.
Well, I need
I'll let
to-
you
I
guys
make
do
a
that.
motion to approve the letter of support.
We've heard enough, and we've got enough experience. We've had these things before us many times, all up and down Western Avenue and elsewhere in our community. Locally here with Raffaello's and that other one across the street from it and everything else. Let's move on.
Okay, so Linda Alexander makes a motion and Rock seconded it.
Thank you.
Well, Linda made it, okay.
Someone did something.
That's for Northwest or Central.
We did.
Northwest.
Northwest, yeah.
Linda, Northwest.
I'm going
North by Northwest.
gonna do, are Central gonna take it up?
Northwest is.
They have to vote on it.
Sorry, I've got to call the vote. Okay, so Pat Nave,
Yes.
Linda Alexander,
Yes.
Rock,
Yes.
Jason Herring,
Yes.
yes. Did I miss anyone?
Frank Anderson?
No, she's Central.
That's enough, right?
Oh, yeah, no, and then I'll vote yes, so it's unanimous.
Very good. Can I get either Frank or
Thank you all. And we will.
wait.
It's not.
Just a second.
Sorry.
Can I get Frank or Lamar to make a motion on this?
So moved. So moved.
Okay, Lamar made a motion. Frank, can you
Yeah, I'll second it.
second that? Okay, we'll take a quick vote. Frank,
Yes.
Just do.
Lamar, and myself. Yes, thank you.
We'll behave.
And yes, I'll be here too.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, I'm all warm inside.
Sorry, Jason, I forgot. So that was the yes from you, Jason, as well, right?
Because we'll vote yes.
Yes, from Jason Wolpe.
Okay, thank you.
We'll
We'll move on. to our next item.
Wait a second, we're chatting amongst ourselves here, we're reflecting.
I'd like to say one thing, it was very important to me that this first move was to the 1-5 office and that the 1-5 supports it. And I trust the judgment in that office. It hasn't always been the case, but. I mean, with other councils.
You don't mean the caution office, you mean the office in general, right, Pat? Is that what you mean?
Well,
Sort of.
there's councilman and then there's councilman.
Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
I always said
I
something
think
too.
it would be helpful to have that fact sheet though before we go to our.
Yeah, I think.
Absolutely. We are stand ready, willing, and able.
Well, and I am gonna double down, I'm gonna stand by my original idea to move for us to support in concept the West Harbor CUP.
Master CUP.
Master CUP, excuse me, yes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We need
Just to call the
the chair to be, our chair needs to call the vote to the committee.
Hello, Chair.
Robin?
Sorry, I thought I already made that decision. We're gonna wait and hear it with our full committee. I think I had the prerogative to make that decision.
Okay, stop.
Robin, you have
Everybody
a
stop.
motion on the floor. You should
Okay,
take the
okay,
vote.
hold on. You're not chairing the committee. Okay, Robin is. This isn't a group decision or discussion for everybody. A motion has been made. There is a quorum for coastal. It has been seconded. I'm assuming the maker you've written down as Mona and Adele seconded, correct?
Please.
Then restate the motion and take the vote unless there is further discussion.
You want me to restate the motion?
Yes, he
Yes,
does.
I move that the Coastal San Pedro Neighborhood Council Planning and Land Use Committee approves in concept the CUP, the master CUP for the West Harbor development.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Well, no,
Aye.
do it. Hold on.
Do it.
Do a roll. I want a roll call on this.
I think you have to have a roll call.
Absolutely.
Adele,
Yes.
Elise,
Yes.
Mona,
Yes.
June,
No,
all vote no. Motion passes.
Okay, the notes are being taken. Thank you.
Do we
Yeah.
get a motion?
Yes.
Okay,
We're
okay.
down, we can move on.
All right, good. Thank you. We will move on and thank you guys.
Let's
go to the top of your time.
We'll come back to number 6 because we're running out of time.
Yes, let's go to item 7 on the agenda.
You know what? Number 6, I'm gonna just do something really quick.
Okay.
Okay, we're back to item 6, general plan update in preparation for the special meeting with the planning department.
So you may recall that we wanted the planning department to come to this meeting tonight. They weren't able to. They originally said they'd come to our regular meeting the end of May, which was awfully late. So what we did is we scheduled a special meeting for Wednesday, May the 8th with the city planning staff, specifically to talk about the proposed housing element and the impact on San Pedro. And what we'd like to do ahead of that is to gather as many questions and as possible to send to them so that we really can focus what they are saying on our concerns. Because if we don't do that, they're going to run the same presentation we've heard, and that's not what we want. We really need our concerns. So I need people on the committee to look at the maps, to look at the ordinances, and send me your questions. By, I would say, the Thursday before, whatever that, by first Thursday.
May 2nd.
May 2nd, which is
Okay.
next week, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, oh.
May 2nd, May 3rd. I think that would give us time, and I'll put them together and I will send them to the planning staff, but I'll kind of organize them before I do. But it's really important. There's just so much in there. And I'm really worried that if we don't raise our questions, we're gonna have trouble. It's gonna be over and we won't have gotten them answered. And I know for Northwest, each member has gone out and looked at a specific physical area. And so against the maps, so there may be some things that have come up out of what you've looked at. We've also talked now about the ordinances. Several people listened to the presentation the city planning staff did on the webinar, which was the webinar, and then there was the thing last Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago. Adele listened. So out of that, there may be some questions. If you didn't listen to that and you want to listen to it, let me know and I can give you a link where you can go listen to that presentation.
I would like to, yeah, it was too much information too rapidly.
Right, which is why we have to look at it carefully and come up with our questions, or it's just gonna be the same thing again.
This doesn't include the landscape ordinance, does it?
No.
No, that doesn't include the landscape ordinance.
It talks about the division of the
next.
lots, the residential lots.
No, that's SB9.
SB9.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with Diana. We really need to focus on the things that are important to our specific neighborhoods, but just in general to our area. Otherwise, we will not get specific answers. I think that's the risk.
And we'd plan to try to spend some time tonight talking about it, but I think we're out of time to do that. So I think we just need to finish the rest of the agenda.
Yeah, no, and I think, you know, people are gonna have to go over the material and have their own areas looked at. But I agree, we have time next week. I mean, not a lot, but that'll give us a little bit of time. Okay, so we'll move on to next item, which is port landscaping maintenance and possible CIS.
So I have distributed a draft community impact statement, and I know at Coastal and I know other neighborhood councils, James has been really good addressing this. There's been a lot of concern over maintenance and issues along the LA waterfront, and it's a visitor destination for residents and folks coming in from all over the world. And we've had some of our chamber members did a walk along the LA waterfront and looked at some of the conditions, particularly in phase 1 of the original promenade. I can circulate this. We have been working with the port on cleaning up some of these conditions that are out there. But I think, Mona, if you want to pass this around, I think it's really important right now during the port's budget process that we support increased funding and staffing for the construction and maintenance division. It's in the budget. So, you know, we made clear when the chamber spoke at Harbor Commission during the budget presentation that we appreciate the dedicated work of the port construction and maintenance staff, but there just aren't enough of them. The division has a lot of vacancies and they're struggling to maintain the current promenade and public space. And then there's all these new projects coming on, West Harbor, the Wilmington Waterfront Park, which is gorgeous. And so I just drafted this because to me, I think it's important, and I'd love James to have you weigh in, that we're at the microphone at the Harbor Commission saying it's important as stakeholders in the community that we have the budget and the staffing for maintenance.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So I just did a very simple community impact statement. I know Doug was gracious enough to look at it and add Coastal's kind of language to it. But this is, I just did a simple draft, just kind of stating what I thought might be important to address.
Yeah, at least
Here we
put
go.
it in the format that we at Northwest are used to using, and I guess Coastal uses a different format. I would entertain a motion if someone wants to support this for Northwest.
I move.
I'll second.
Okay.
You're hugging all the seconds.
I heard both of you at once, but I put you down, Linda. Okay, so, we're ready to vote for Northwest?
Yes.
Rock?
Yes.
Pat?
Here.
Linda?
Yes.
Diana, yes, and Jason?
West rolls.
Yes.
Yes. Unanimous for Northwest.
Anna, if I may real quick, when you send the CIS,
Yeah.
it was announced today or maybe tomorrow, maybe it hasn't been announced yet. But the Harbor Department is being asked to present at the Budget and Finance Committee of the city. So you can actually also file that with the city council's CF number on the budget, and I can get you the CFI tomorrow.
That would be great, yeah.
It's a pop.
I would just wrote it as it was going straight to the harbor.
We were not going to hear the Harbor Department budget. That will be announced, I think, tomorrow, or maybe it was announced today, but it's gonna be May 1st. And so we want to get it in.
Unfortunately, we won't go to our board until after May 1st.
That's fine, because the budget doesn't get adopted until the end of May, so it's the same council file number.
Okay. Doug, did you wanted to say something about?
Yeah, real quick. Sergio, is that the standard council file budget number?
Yes.
240600?
I don't remember the number.
Yeah, it's the same number every year.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
It's a number, Doug?
24-0600. 2406.
0600.
Yeah. I seem to remember that's, but we can double check it.
Yeah.
I did, and I sent this to Robin and a couple of others of you. I took this language and put it into a motion format. I mean, that's what we would use at Coastal. And then I would leave it to Robin to either take this letter or rewrite it or whatever in conformance with that. But that's, it's the same difference. It's just we put it in parliamentary language.
James, did you have a comment?
Yes, I appreciate the motion. I think it's a great idea. Thank you, Elise, and everyone else who had something to do with it. I've sent Elise some pictures. I've been trying to deal with the block field adjacent area, the cliffside there. It's just horrendous. But the reason it doesn't look so horrendous now, because the growth of all the bushes and trees are covering most of it. They're not really their homeless encampment, but dealing with the Port Police for such a long time. But my fear is this motion, by the time they hire staff and equipment and training, what are we, a year away of getting that cleaned up? And according to Howie, he said they're in the process, the port is in the process of obtaining assistance with clearing the trash and debris. And Melissa Knight on the staff will keep us posted. So I keep shooting them an email every couple weeks, but how long is this going to take, just to get this area that could be done in 1 or 2 days? And it just needs to be cleaned out of there. And so I don't know. I think the port, if it has enough money for, a lot of people like the city have left their jobs. The money is there. The money could be partially spent to hire an independent company to come in and assist.
It's two things, James. So you're talking about getting stuff done right away. This motion, as you say, doesn't address that, but it does address the bigger picture, which is the future, where there are more and more things that are going to need to be done. And so I think both are true. I don't think it's one or the other.
And Diana, can
I agree.
James, to your point, and you might want to come to the Harbor Commission and speak to this. Dina, who is the in charge of the bureau that made this presentation at the port, they are looking at the opportunity to bring in contractors to get maintenance and construction caught up. But they're going to be working with the unions, because this is a union issue, bringing in outside contracted labor. But it is something they're going to be talking to the unions about, the opportunity, because they have all these vacancies to get caught up. And they did get the tagging off the block field sign, so thank you, James, for your work.
Thank you.
Does Coastal want to do
So
anything?
I'd like to make a motion to, that we approve this community impact statement in its entirety as written.
Well, you want to do the one that Doug rewrote for Coastal?
Yes, Doug, we put it in Coastal's format.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's in Doug's postal format, yes.
Yeah.
Second.
Madam Chair, will you call the vote?
I think we lost Robin.
Oh,
It's vice chair.
that is a very good question. I don't know who our vice chair is.
At one,
Okay, guys, so who's here? June, Adele, Mona, Elise. right?
Elise, correct.
All right, so who made the motion? Mona?
I did.
Mona,
And who seconds?
Elise,
All right, so I'm gonna call your names and just say yes or no.
Okay.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
All right, Adele,
yes.
Elise,
Yes.
June,
June?
June's not answering. Okay,
She's muted.
I'm abstaining.
okay, June abstains and Mona.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 3 yeses, 1 abstention. So yeah, go ahead and forward that, but make sure somebody emails Robin and let her know.
Okay,
Thank you.
All right, then Central, we still have quorum. We lost the number.
Okay, I'm pushing back, but this needs to go through a formal process, which is central.
Okay. You want to bring it to the committee or to
I
the,
want to go to the committee.
okay, we'll bring it to the committee then. We have time.
we have time.
So we'll do that then. All right, we'll move on to our next item, and since Robin is not here, I guess we're not able to do that. So we'll move on to the next item, which is item 9, other updates on items of interest for the committee. Diana, do we have any?
well, I think the big one was the court today saying that SB 9
Oh, yes,
unconstitutional.
Oh, that's a lot.
Now that'll be appealed.
the lot splits, yeah.
Go ahead, Pat.
Obviously,
Yeah.
What?
there's always been a conflict for chartered cities. Chartered cities in California's constitution have special status, and so that matters that are uniquely local matters take precedence over anything that the legislature says. So zoning and things like that have classically been that, but the legislature can overcome that by saying that a particular matter is a matter of statewide concern and then pass legislation. In the case of SB 9, the court, I haven't read it, but Diana filled me in a little bit about it. The state had not made the findings of statewide concern over the need for low cost.
It didn't include, didn't mandate affordable housing. And therefore didn't make the mandate of the
Right.
statewide concern.
So the municipal affairs doctrine is what it's called, Article 11, Section 11 of the state, the California Constitution. It takes precedence, and so the state act was unconstitutional.
And that only applies to charter cities like LA.
Yeah, very easy for this. The state can fix that if they make the findings in a reenactment of legislation. And unfortunately, the courts give a lot of deference to the state legislature on these kinds of these findings of statewide concern.
It appears that if it had mandated affordable housing, then it would have stood. But it didn't include that mandate, which was the statewide concern.
It's been a matter of, it's one of my favorite high horses. I get up on high horse about the matter of municipal affairs doctrine, and that Los Angeles should be allowed to regulate itself on all sorts of things, contracting, personnel matters, housing, zoning, particularly zoning. I mean, we fought like hell to get to local control of zoning, local community plans, and stuff like that. They just come in and just gut us, no parking requirements, transportation elements, all screwed up.
Very good. Anything else, Diana?
Not for me. Any other updates, from anyone?
No, just a reminder, we have a special meeting.
Public comment?
May 8th, and open it to public comment, items not on the agenda.
So Gwendolyn Henry, I hope to soon be appointed to the Community Forestry Advisory Committee, which meets at City Hall once a month. This is about trees, of course. Couple of different things. The landscape that just was released. There was an extremely interesting presentation in March regarding the landscape ordinance that was being developed. Michelle Levy and Danae Zaire were part of the presentation. And they talked about a lot of the point-based system and things. But what was even more interesting was that West Hollywood, Rick Averson, the city architect and manager of urban design and architecture for West Hollywood, also made a presentation. They're farther in their landscape ordinance. Because they are a small city, they have fewer qualifications for things. They don't have hospitals, they don't have schools and all of this. But they came up with a very robust vocabulary, landscape vocabulary to meet a lot of things like the term native plants and non-native species and things like that. But they came up with a robust vocabulary in order to develop a really, I would say, a very forward landscape rules to go along with housing. What's happening is that in Los Angeles, 20% of the forest is being removed, on a regular basis, annually. Most of the trees that are within the city of Los Angeles aren't street trees, they are on private property, and things like SB9, SB10, we both have been removing their trees. And there's a whole series of things that are going to help protect that forest. We need it. The heat island effect is going to simply increase. And again, CD15, yes, this is it. CD15 is the most tree poor council district in all of Los Angeles. And so this is one of the issues. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Irene Gutierrez, did you want to make a public comment? If so, raise your hand or let us know. Guess not.
See any motions? No.
Any other public comments? No.
We are done, and
You have on my pictures.
again, just a reminder for Wednesday, May 8th, our special meeting.
Will it be here? Yes. Staff will be presenting via.
It's a budgetary item, so I'm gonna get clarification on. Definition for the
May 8th.
Thank you and good night, everyone online.
Thank you.
I
I mean, I'm gonna.